Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are we all?
Have we got anyone with us? They're coming on. Oh,
What a lovely morning.
isn't it? Nice sunny day. It's a sunny day today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. Oh, yes. Apparently it's going to snow by the weekend.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to talk yet?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
go for it. You're live, Bruce, and you're with us.
I was only going to comment on the sky, so not very sort of profound, but it's cloudy here.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I've got clouds, but light cloud rather than...
Well, I was sitting in the garden last night at about 5:30 in the sun with a glass of wine, thinking, oh, this is March. Wow.
Yeah.
Great. We're back to normal now.
It's like back to the first lockdown, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's so lovely and warm. I'm hoping it's going to, after Easter, just kick off with the heat and stay like it till November.
Yeah, so that's a totally realistic aspiration, Helen, I'm sure. I'm with you on that. Got a hope, haven't you?
Always look on the positive side.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So
Great.
As I mentioned to you that Pauline hopes to join us, I think. So have you met her before? I don't know whether she was on any of our earlier calls. She's our artistic director.
I think so. I think on the original one where we had a number of charities.
She may well have been on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we've got at least 5 people watching. So do you want to introduce our guest, Sarah?
So we have with us this wonderful Bruce, who is from Bromley Little Theatre. And I had the pleasure of speaking to Bruce and finding out that there's the Bromley Little Theatre. I lived in Bromley for a long, long time and never knew of this. Bruce was telling me all about it and how incredible it is, and I cannot wait for you to be open for us to come down. But what we want to do is get Bruce on here to tell all of you about Bromley Little Theatre and how incredible it is and the work that they do, the volunteers that they need. And yeah, so Bruce, I will hand over to you.
Okay.
Tell us.
Thanks, Sarah, and hello everybody. It's Bruce here from Bromley Little Theatre, as Sarah said. I've got a dual role there. Well, actually, probably more than dual at Bromley. I like to act as often as I can, but I'm also on the board as their sort of the sort of strategy and brand director. And Pauline, if she joins us, if she gets here in time, is our artistic director. If you hear a northern accent coming on in a minute, it'll be her. But we've been around for the last since 1938. I can't do the maths. That's going on for 90 years, isn't it? Nearly in Bromley. And it's interesting to hear Sarah say, you know, I've lived in this area for such a long time and I didn't know about Bromley Little Theatre. And I think that's quite a common feedback that we get from people to say, well, I just didn't know you, or you're just round the corner and what's going on. So that's kind of partly informs some of the rationale that we've been looking as part of our own strategy going forward, which is to integrate better, broader and more deeply with our Bromley community. So those people who don't know us yet have an opportunity to get to know us. And those who do can get to know us on a perhaps a more profound and meaningful level. We do have some involvement in our community at the moment. The first night of our performances on the main stage, we give over to charities. And we as you probably know, because CASPA have used this before, I'm pretty sure. But essentially, it's like our first dress rehearsal, and we put that on, and the charities come along and they bring their own supporters and members and can retain the revenue that they sell the tickets for. That's been pretty much the extent of our sort of interaction with charities locally, and we want to make it, as I was saying earlier, much more meaningful than that. And that's kind of what informs us reaching out to what I'm going to call our sort of special status charities in our community, of which CASPA is going to be one. And in addition to coming along and looking at our performances, we want to look at how else we can work more closely together in partnership to make it a more beneficial experience, particularly for the people that CASPA serves. And, you know, that doesn't have to be just coming along and watching performance. It doesn't have to be doing your own performance on our stage. It can be those things. It can be a number of different things. But I see what we do in our performances, all the way from auditions through to striking the set at the end of the run, as offering up a number of opportunities for people to come along and either learn new skills or contribute their own talents to the production process and preparation process. And that's kind of what this is all about. We want to explore more and see more about what we can do as an outstanding theatre in Bromley. Bromley's best kept secret, perhaps, to those who don't know us. to help CASPA and 3 other organisations in this context benefit from the range of expertise we have. And you don't have to be a lover of theatre. Sometimes talking to people about theatre, they say, well, I love theatre, and I go to theatre a lot, or I'd like to go to the theatre. And sometimes people say, I'm not really a theatre type person. But this can apply to any of those descriptions. You don't have to be a theatre type person to get the maximum benefit out of working more closely with Bromley. And there are a number of things that you can do that you might have real talents for or an interest in learning more about that support that production process. So the things I kind of have in mind, anything, and this is not an exhaustive list, from sort of lighting to sound to costumes to building sets to designing sets to making props to stage management, as well as acting and doing other things that go on in the theatre. So there's a whole range of things that can appeal to people to come along, get involved, meet new people, learn new skills that are an intrinsic part of our performance process, but don't necessarily have to have anything to do with the production at the end of the day or standing on stage and acting. So kind of that's where we are, and at the moment, I've had a couple of calls and some correspondence with Sarah and Helen. We talked about the partnership, and we are opening our theatre just for our community partners on the 22nd of May, and so I've asked Helen and Sarah if they'd like to come along. We've got I think the first slot on the day, 10:30 on that Saturday morning. So we'll have them in. Because of social distancing, we can't have that many in, but we can have CASPA in, and we can tour the theatre, sit down and talk a bit about what we might want to do to kick off working together for the rest of the year, a bit more specifically, and try to assign some timescales. So that's kind of what we're all about. Do you want me to say any more? Probably you would like me to say that.
No, that's a brilliant summary. As you could probably tell, Sarah and I are both super excited and have loads. Sarah, you're the one who's had the latest chat with Bruce. Do you want to kind of talk a little bit about what you were thinking for CASPA?
Well, everyone who knows me knows I got super excited. I was clapping and flapping and all sorts, as Bruce saw on the call, about us being able to partner with you guys. Some of our guys come in to learn some skills with you guys, show you their skills. We do a lot of CASPA talent, and I was saying about how we have lots of young people that have truly shown a real skill, one, to be on stage, also to do the lighting, the sound, and a real interest and passion for it. So it's going to be great. We can combine them. And also Bruce kindly sort of said that we may be able to use some space there. So we're looking at our LGBTQ plus group using the stage. We're
and somebody who's heavily involved in running that group also has a drama degree or theatre degree in theatre themselves. So excited, one of our staff members, to get some stuff going.
And then we've been speaking about a CASPA choir that may be coming to you soon.
Yes,
I mentioned that we had a board meeting just after I spoke to you last time, Sarah, and I said one of the ideas is I hope I wasn't telling tales out of school, but one of the ideas that you were talking about was a CASPA choir, and that there was great interest amongst my colleagues on the board about that, actually. Immediate enthusiasm. So
and that for us, when Kim brought it to me, I was literally so excited, because I'm quite an excited person. So and I just think the partnership between us is going to be amazing, and let's get people into the Bromley Little Theatre. I can't wait to come.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've been to the theatre a number of times over the year, literally in the last kind of 25, 30 years. And it is a beautiful space. It reminds me a bit of the Leicester Square Theatre, that kind of small, intimate, small bar. It's so much potential. Well,
actually, interestingly, we do have a connection with the West End, other than the incredible performance levels of standards that we adhere to, obviously at the time. But we, the Mr. Puck, I think his name was, who first founded BLT before the Second World War, found the seats that we've currently got, and you'll see on our website where there's one of the pictures is of lots of red seats. Which as a Spurs fan I have some sort of objection to, but they were seats that were.
You've got to separate your football and your theatre, Bruce.
Of course, I have to all the time. And actually, I did have to do, and one of my plays, I did have to do quite an intimate love scene with an Arsenal fan. So that was, as you can imagine, the emotional challenge that was to overcome.
Ooh, I hope they paid you well for that.
If only a season ticket to the Arsenal. Yeah, that's right. But the reason I was saying it is that the seats that we currently have were bought in from they were doing a sort of a refurb of one of the theatres. I don't think it was the Leicester Square Theatre, but one of the theatres in town, and these were free to a good home. So he organised a collection of these seats and took them down and installed them before the war, and they've been there ever since. So
what a story!
Our little collection there.
Brilliant. Yeah. And they are really beautiful, which also helps in a space like that, right? They're beautiful theatre seats. And
yes, it's quite impactful. The auditorium, for those who haven't been, we hold so 113 people are in the main stage area, and we tend to run our plays from Thursday through to the following Sunday. So normally nine or 10 performances, and pretty well our occupancy, I would say, on average is 85% upwards. Some shows sell out for the whole run. And that's great. Some of the traditional ones we call our bankers, are ones that we can put on 8-born plays and things like that. But also we like to have edgier plays that are a bit more challenging, and they don't always fill up, but we like to do them, and obviously the cross subsidies involved from our bankers through to those who are important to us. And in addition to our 113 seat theatre, we have a bar area, quite a big bar area. You'll be familiar with it, Helen. Not that I'm suggesting you spent all your time in it, just that you would have remembered to be in there as you went through.
He knows me already.
And it's that we do our equivalent of performances in the round are in the bar area. So it's more intimate. Typically, we have a really pared down set, and often it can be just a couple of chairs or a minimal amount of scenery and special effects. Because we want the effect to be more visceral and more intimate. And typically we get sort of 40-45 people maximum, and we run that over 5 nights. And we also have a vibrant youth theatre that put on an outstanding performance. Normally put that on in sort of July or August time. And it's certainly not a children's play. It's a proper play with really highly talented people.
Yeah.
And
I will testify to that. I know some of the young people that have performed, and it's like professional. It's like National Youth Theatre kind of stuff. It's good, really, really good quality.
It is. It's great. So we tend to. So our appeal is quite diverse for a theatre like this. We do have people upwards from 13 years of old to, I think our oldest member is sort of 98. So we kind of cover quite a broad range of ages and people and backgrounds there. But typically it's all coalesced around the activity in the theatre, which is our core activity, and that's fine. But that what we need to do and want to do is broaden our reach and our appeal to people along the lines that I'm talking about today, really.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Well, we've got a good history at CASPA of theatre and drama and all sorts. It actually kind of in some ways was built on that, because it started almost as a drama group, because I was the first kind of paid staff member to ever be brought into CASPA, and I came from a theatre background. So I came from the theatre into CASPA. We set up, or we wrote, the young people wrote, directed, did the stage, the scenery, everything, the lighting, we did the whole lot, full-scale production. Back in the day, which I'm sure some of them on here will remember. That was probably, 18 years ago? About 18 years ago. Try my age. And it's rolled on from there. We've done some really amazing pantomimes, all written by the young people that we work with are so talented. I mean, Mike Hines, for example, I don't know if you're on here, Mike. He writes scores. He writes musical scores and things like that. And they just don't necessarily get the opportunity to bring them to life. I mean, there's so much, and so much potential for the stuff that we do. We've got some beautiful actors, directors, and drama tutors working with us, even now. Miranda, and then obviously Miss Kim with the singing. So we're ready to go, Bruce. Quite frankly, full step to production.
Well, the way I see it working is that we can think about, and it might be a good idea if. Between now and when we meet, if you can make it on the 22nd, if you want to bring a couple of others as well, I think I've said in my note probably a maximum of 4 people from your side, just for the social distancing rules. But if between now and then you wanted just to sort of, and it doesn't need to be detail, but some headings, half a page of things that you're particularly interested, that you think for over the next year we could do. And I've made a note of some of these things, but and we've touched upon them here. You know, things like some of your self-written performances, something like the choir, something like CASPA's Got Talent, and other things too, which don't need to be performances or productions, but things. I mean, writing your own score, for example. We've got one or two people within the theatre who have scored our plays, and there may be a fantastic opportunity for somebody to actually score a play for us. You know, so. Yeah. A proper play that we're going to all put on and go and watch and see. So I think we can investigate quite a lot of those things. And if we can have a reasonable amount of clarity early on, then we can make sure that we can schedule that and factor it into the sort of work programs for all the things that we're doing. And there may be other things that we want to do as well. I'm going to call them sort of collateral benefits, which are not necessarily integral parts of the performance process, but things that you derive from that. And some of the things I have in mind are, or one thing in particular would be, it may be, and this may not be relevant for you guys, I don't know, but perhaps we may put together a workshop based upon impact, confidence, self-belief, discussions, performing or feeling calm in front of numbers, audiences, those sorts of things, which might emerge. It may not be something that we kick off with, and we haven't written.
Yeah, because
we've got a lot of people
about public speaking.
Yeah, and I think that could be something.
And the confidence. Yeah, no, and I think that would be amazing for us to do that. So, I've got my list is ready for you, Bruce.
Well, I mean, if you will drop me a note with the sort of things that you want. If rather than just a list, I mean, if you could put your some sort of weighting on it, things we'd really like to do this year, and things.
Oh yeah, I've got that.
Longer term, then it can give me some thought about. Well, okay, those are some 3 or 4 key things that we need to get organised over the rest of this year. And I know to some extent it's going to be predicated on our ability to get into a theatre. You know, we still won't know yet.
My next. Oh, someone's just come on, Harriet HB, who would have loved to hear this conversation. HB, we're talking about Bromley Little Theatre and our partnership with them. Bruce is from Bromley Little Theatre, and we've been talking about what the possibilities are of working together. And I know that HB has a performance background. They're into dance. They just love their theatre. So, yeah, they will enjoy that. But what I was going to ask Bruce actually is, when are you opening, and what are the next sort of productions that are coming on, so that we can either promote and or come and see them?
Yeah, we hope to open, all being well, early June with a performance of Handbagged, which is a story about Margaret Thatcher's relationship with the Queen. And we've done it
anyone who watched The Crown would find that very interesting.
Well, there's some parallels with that, very much so. And that's going to go on in early June, we hope. So we've got the play rehearsed. It's ready to go. We've rehearsed it remotely. There was a small window during the movement of tiers from one to the other, whatever it was, where we were able to rehearse face to face for a week or so. But we reckon we need 2 weeks from pressing a button on the 17th of May, whatever it is, to actually going in. So 2 weeks prep, and then we'll be going up for there. So look for the website, and as soon as it's on there now, but as soon as what we can't do yet is buy tickets, because we're having to we're changing our database people from Ticket Source to a company called Patron Base. And we need them to, they promise us they have an algorithm in place that will allow us to socially distance audiences. You can imagine it's quite a challenge with a capacity of 113. We're only allowed to have a maximum of 50%, but then there will be some people who want to come as a couple, some on their own, some small groups. So we have to configure those various possibilities into every night, so that the ticket selling process may not be straightforward, but I'll keep you in the loop. So that's going to be the first one. And then it's going to be followed by a play called Photograph 51, which I don't know. I saw that in the West End. I was keen that we did it, and it's all about a scientist, a woman scientist. True story. Nicole Kidman played the part, and I think she won an Olivier for it probably about 4 years ago, and about her struggles and her development of some certain sort of scientific genes in the 50s.
We have some female scientists amongst our members.
They would love that, I think. So that will follow. That'll be July time. Nice. We'll probably close July and then we'll open up in September. We're not sure what our September or October plays are. It might be that we do we've got a couple of ideas of what we're going to be doing. We've got a bit of time, so it kind of depends on what plays we can socially distance if we need to still then. So we've got some plays that we can rehearse and perform normally, but if we do that and we're still in a socially distanced environment, we'll need to sort of reconfigure it a bit before we go in the autumn. So numbers might have to be limited, and we might have to actually perform it in a way that isn't the normal way, but it's a socially distanced way, without it being too much of a detriment to the audience's experience. So we need to think about what sort of plays fit that, really. So that's all we've got for this year nailed down. But we're desperate to open up, as you can see. So for an amateur theatre like this to be able to, because we're not allowed in the theatre till the 17th of May, so to go from there and open for a show in early June is, we think, pretty good. So
well, we've got to congratulate you for staying alive, you know, as a theatre space, because, you know, some of the big ones are struggling, let alone some of the smaller ones. So
yeah,
well, and I know people that work in the arts are very resilient, but and used to living on a shoestring. But yeah, well done. Really, really good work.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's been a learning experience, as it has for all theatres, I know. But we've done lots of in the last year. You know, we've done lots of things that we hadn't done before. We've done socially distanced filming of snippets of Dickens novels. We've done Shakespeare. We've done Oscar Wilde snippets. Where I was doing one of those where I had to dress up and perform my bit in my study, sitting in the wardrobe, doing sort of audio stuff. We've done an audio. In fact, I'll let you see that as soon as we've done an audio radio play, really, which is being submitted to the Kent Drama Association as part of their festival this year, which I'm also in, so it's not meant to be plugged, but it's a complete radio play, 45 minutes, and I've listened to pretty well the final cut of it yesterday, and it's fantastic. It's wonderful to listen. Our sound guy has done a fantastic job, and these are all new skills that we've learned this year, because we've had to stay in touch in different ways. But actually, I think we'll continue with going forward. So although we've been closed, we've been open in a number of different ways to anybody who wants to take part.
Brilliant. So is there any chance we can get a hold of a copy of that or something, so that we can share with our families in case they... Definitely. Because the radio play, I can certainly send you links to the things like the Oscar Wilde things, and I think our mutual friend Dickens things are on our YouTube channel, which I can also send you. Right.
The radio play, we're a bit embargoed yet, because it has to be judged by the Kent judging panel first, along with all other theatres in Kent who've submitted an entry. And once they've done that and come up with who they think is going to win, obviously, you know, that would be an easy decision for them.
Obviously,
actually, once they've got that over, then we can socialise it a bit more widely. So I'll certainly do that. We want obviously to share all that's going on about us, to stimulate your own thinking about opportunities going forward. So.
Brilliant. Well, we've got Miranda's just popped on. Our Casper Miranda, one of our staff members, also from a theatre acting and drama background. So hi, Miranda. You'll like this one. And Harriet's just said, speaking of Shakespeare, we should make the 1996 reboot of Romeo and Juliet a ballet.
Oh.
And perform it on our stage.
Yeah. So the Baz Luhrmann version, I'm assuming. The Baz Luhrmann ballet, Romeo and Juliet.
Sounds great.
Love that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Sorry,
no, I was just saying, I've just found your YouTube channel. I'm going to put the link in the comments as well.
Excellent, thank you.
And do that. Oh, I'd love to do a CASPA Shakespeare production, yeah. And I know when we spoke, Bruce, as well, we spoke about a few charities, local charities collaborating and things, which, you know, we're very up for, and getting some events where we can all be together rather than
definitely.
CASPA and just being, you know, because you're supporting some really amazing charities, and it would be nice to all be together.
We're also supporting, as well as CASPA, we're Just Be and Magpie Dance. But we've also we're working with Bishop Justice School, who've set up a Justice Theatre company, because they're very keen on obviously enhancing their dramatic skills. So we're kind of working to them in a slightly different way, perhaps with you, but not necessarily, actually, depending on where it goes. But we're providing them with what they're looking for from the point of view of help and sort of ideas and thoughts and assistance to get their company up and running and producing performances, which they could also do on our stage. You know, we have a pretty hectic activity schedule at BLT as it is, but we can find slots for people like you to perform if we know in advance when it's going to be. So that shouldn't be.
Yeah, and I think for us, Bruce, what's amazing, you're willing. You want us involved. You want to engage with the community, and that's just such a huge bonus, especially for a charity in Bromley.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we do. It's been a bit of a personal bugbear of mine that we should have been doing this for more. But I think for me, particularly today, it's so important. There's so much that we do and we enjoy that we can share with other people that we've done to some extent before, but nothing along the lines I've got in mind here. That it seems too good an opportunity to miss. And for people to benefit from, for us to benefit from as well. I mean, you said in your note, Helen, about the Bromley Autism Promise, and I'm certainly up to learn more about it and to make sure that BLT are proper champions in a meaningful day-to-day way, as well as this sort of partnership in how we behave and how we react and how we think in the context of some of the challenges that you face. So make sure that we are, properly lined up.
Yeah, truly accessible. Yeah,
and truly integrated, isn't it? We've obviously for us it's Autism Awareness Week, and we've been speaking a lot about talking to people, letting people ask questions about autism, finding out, not feeling silly, and sort of collaborations like this is going to help that, because education is key, right? Knowledge is power.
Yes, and I think once you've got the once people get to the acceptance stage and understand what it is and what it isn't, then it's not a big leap to actually accepting that and working with it and understanding along the lines we're talking about.
It's reducing fear, isn't it? It's like James Lyle, one of our ex-young people, now team leader within kind of the NHS. He's a paramedic. He said something around when he was at school that they were put into social skills classes, the autistic children. And he was saying, well, if we're doing social skills classes for autistic children, why aren't we doing skills and awareness classes for everyone else so that the two can meet? It's like there's no point just trying to train autistic children to act like everybody else. Why don't we train everybody to accept everybody for who they are, which is, it's not just one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's for me, once if you've got a continuum of sort of awareness and acceptance, the logical corollary is inclusion, real genuine inclusion in what we do. And I know you've got 3 eyes in your sort of headlines, your mission name. So inspiration, independence, integration, inspiration, independence. And I thought, inclusion is an important part of that. For that to happen, people need to feel. Everybody who's on this event today needs to start by feeling included. That should be a starting point, and then you move on from there, rather than some aspirational goal that you've got to stretch out for all the time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, completely. Excellent. So no, thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you so much for coming on. And we will continue to work with you and shout about what we're doing, and hopefully get you guys on again sort of once we've kicked off a bit more, and once we've been down 22nd and taken our pictures and done some videos, and it's exciting.
I think that I know you've been before, Helen, but I think anybody who hasn't would, when you're thinking about what you're doing and you've got a sort of provisional list, once you're in there and you see the space and you can understand more about it, you get a sense of feasibility about some of the options relative to others, and then you can sort of firm up what we're going to do.
Definitely.
So my mum's just messaged to say I love the Bromley Little Theatre. I used to go there quite a bit.
Well, that's great feedback. Apart from they used to go, so great, but it's so many people would say that, wouldn't they? We used to go, and we do get people who come back, who've moved away from the area, and then come back again 20, 30 years later. So
I'll text back. You'll probably be there a lot more often now.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah, perfect. So, okay, well, thank you so much, Bruce. We'll let you carry on with your day.
Yeah, thank you. And just let me know what this link is so that I can post it to our lot, and they can have a look, and if they want to have a look at this chat, that would be good. So I'll see you, if not before, on the 22nd of May, but no doubt we'll be in touch between now and then.
Yeah, we've just got to try and work out who with all our kids and all of them, because they ruin the social distancing.
Do I sign myself out of this, or do you just kick me out?
We kick you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah's good at that.
I'm waiting.
Bye, Bruce.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Bruce. You did as
How
well.
amazing. How
How
amazing.
lovely. My mum messaged as well. Always very keen and very enthusiastic, isn't it? I was like, yeah.
Oh, it's just exciting, isn't it? It's just really nice to be able to start working with people within the community again.
Exactly.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and like Miranda said, and we know this, and I think people that have just maybe recently come to CASPA, or maybe in the last few years, our drama side has kind of dropped off slightly just because of the dynamics of different staff and whatever's been going on. But, you know, we've got quite a rooted history in drama and theatre. And Miranda's just put here, drama is brilliant for self-expression, whatever your needs or abilities, exploring issues, drama workshops helping neurotypical people to understand autism would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, before CASPA, that's what me and Miranda used to do. We used to do lots of different workshops to raise awareness about lots of different issues. So yeah, this is a brilliant opportunity for everybody. And the CASPA choir, Sarah, is a genius idea.
I can't take any credit for it. I really can't. Kim,
that's not true. You generally tend to facilitate everyone else having good ideas.
Oh no. Kim messaged me and she was just like, "What do you think?" And I was just like, "Oh my goodness!" Literally.
Take that as a yes.
Yeah, and Kim's got some amazing ideas of where the choir is going to go. And it's going to be an all-age choir.
Global. Oh,
yeah, it's going to be it's going to be amazing. So yeah, just watch this space. But yeah, so obviously we're not going to stay on too long this morning because you get to see our gorgeous faces all week. So we've got CASPA Lucy on this afternoon at 1:30.
1:30.
Talking about all things autism and from a girl, a lady's point of view, you know, growing up. And so it'll be amazing. We all love CASPA Lucy. And then we have got siblings. So we've got Jade and Cassie, who also work at CASPA, but they are siblings of two amazing young adults with autism. So it would be nice to be there. Miranda's coming on with me, I think, to see CASPA Lucy. We love Miranda. Oh, so there's just lots going on. Stay in touch with us. Yeah. We're getting ready and all geared up for our Easter egg hunt on Saturday.
I've just seen the Easter eggs. There's loads of them.
We've got lots of eggs. And the bunny's just super awesome.
Oh, yes. I hear a little bird tells me, actually, she told me herself yesterday, Lucy's looking forward to wearing that costume.
Yeah. So it's going to be amazing. It's just going to be amazing. We can't wait. So much going on. We'll wait for you too, Miranda.
Right, we're imagining. 2 hands?
Yeah, it would be 2, wouldn't it? So much going on. Keep in touch, keep in contact. Parent support group's going well. If anyone wants to join, email us, get in contact. Lots of activities. You know where we are.
Yeah.
And thank you. Thank you. See you all.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Right, brilliant. Take care. See you. Bye.
Jazz hands for Miranda.